All right.
Brought to you by Dr. Greg Eckert. He's my dentist, and you know he wants to be yours. All right, busy weekend on the 40. Baseball, of course. Longhorns will be hosting Michigan State. We're going to preview that series coming up. But SEC Hoops tomorrow, and we're going to preview this coming up on our A block next hour, Jack. The monster Saturday of college basketball. Brackets will be filled out in about 3 weeks from now. About a month, right? Mid-March, we get into the Madness of March, right into St. Patrick's Day, spring break. But this is a big weekend, so we'll preview that. But the Longhorns have a big one tomorrow. Texas women won last night. As we said, there's not much to say. They just absolutely went to Fayetteville and blistered the Razorbacks. This was a 93-62 game. This game was over early, 18-9 in the first quarter, 29-18 second quarter, over by halftime. And Texas had it on cruise control at that point. They will play again Sunday, Jack. The Texas women will play Mississippi State. Remember, Vic Schaefer came to Texas from Mississippi State, where he was the head coach there and doing a good job. They've not been the same program since he left there. But remember, we had Isaiah Collier on the show earlier this week, and he talked about Vic may have gone too hard on the starters early in the year because of some injuries, and they had those tough games. They got to 21-0 at one point, but he thought it felt like their legs were tired, and that's why they're not shooting as well. But how about this? Last night, because it was such a blowout, Vic Schaefer got to rest a lot of his starters. 46 of their 93 points came from the bench last night. So this might be, because you got a quick turnaround here, Thursday night to Sunday, because I think that's the key for Texas and Vic Schaefer. They've got to get the legs back under Madison Booker, Roy Harmon. You want them to be as fresh as possible. Sure, you want to win all the games, but I think they need to get them, because they rode them pretty hard. Vic rode them pretty hard when Aaliyah Crump was hurt and they had the injuries early. Those games in November and December are important, but they're not nearly as important as what comes in March. And it seems like some of the starters have kind of hit a bit of a wall. When you go 0 for the 3-point line at Tennessee, kind of feels like, and Vic is practicing them hard at this point based on what we heard last week. So we'll see. That's going to be the key for me. They can win a national title. I think they're right there with the UConns and the UCLAs and the South Carolinas. They've already beaten South Carolina once this year, but they're going to have to make sure they're fresh when they get there. And last night was a good step towards that. As for the Texas men, they play tomorrow at Georgia. By the way, speaking of the Bulldogs in Athens, did you see 2 more Georgia football players were cited for reckless driving?
Of course.
Like, seriously, it almost is like something out of The Onion. Every time I look up, I'm like, oh, look at Kirby Smart's got another reckless driving case at his football program. Seriously?
Yeah, not good.
That's like more than 20 in the last few years at Georgia. Am I wrong about that?
Absolutely not.
What is going on? Hey, Kirby. I mean, is there like a drag race? I mean, seriously about this. Is there like some kind of drag racing culture or something going on there? I don't know. There has to be, because this was one of their starting linebackers and another guy on the team at Georgia cited again yesterday. Reckless driving and speed at its maximum. So this is like, they didn't even put the speed on there, but it's not good. Not just a speeding ticket. It's reckless driving because they were in excess of whatever. All right, Kirby. At this point, it's not even, we kind of snicker, but people died in Athens. Players and people who work for the staff. That hadn't been funny in a long time. I don't know what Kirby does about it. I mean, I'm just saying, like in other programs around the country, we're not seeing this.
Right.
Now, maybe it's happening, but we're not hearing it in Austin.
Sure. I mean, we had a couple things. I think it was like Nick Brooks this season.
Yeah.
Every there's how many players are on a college football team? Like over 100?
Yeah. Scholarships they've gone up, but yeah, right. 85, 100 players.
Just the sheer quantity that's been happening at one program, and it's the same type of incident over and over.
Yes.
It's not like, one dude's robbing people, one dude's getting in car crashes, one dude's,
no,
this, that,
you're
or
right
the other.
about that.
It's always the same thing.
Yeah.
It's always like reckless driving.
And it's speeding. There has to be a drag racing culture that's going on, and obviously they have money to buy cars, and I don't know how you get you got to do something. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous at this point, Kirby. That's another one. It's like 23 incidents in 3 seasons, 3 years, and one killed a player and killed a staff member. I mean, that's come on, man. All right, so I mentioned Georgia. The Texas is going to Athens in basketball. This is one, as Texas has their next 4 games, y'all, are against Georgia Saturday. They're ranked number 39 in the net rankings, so top 40. But this is winnable. Then you play Florida here in Austin next Wednesday, who's currently they've moved up to number 8 in the net rankings after another win this week. They are climbing. Remember, Jack Kirby, or Florida won the national title last year, but they had a bunch of changes. Walter Clayton and company off to the NBA. They got off to a 5-4 start. Todd Golden's team went 5-4 in their first 9 games. They were a 500 team. But now they're a 20-win team, which tells you how good they've been since SEC play began. So Texas will face them next week. That's one, if you get it, man, big crowd, hype. Florida might be a top 5 team by then in the country. That should be a great crowd. But can you win that game? I don't think Texas is as good as Florida, but we'll see. Then you go to A&M next week to play the Aggies, who are ranked right at 4, right about Georgia level. They're right at number 40 in the net rankings. Then they play out Arkansas next Saturday, number 18 in the net rankings. They just came off that double overtime thriller loss at Alabama this week for John Calipari. Then they wrap up with Oklahoma. Point of that is you've got 5 games left. 2 of them, Florida and Arkansas, if you win it, it would be a bonus, I guess is the way to put that. Sure, you show up, you play, but you're not expecting to win those games. A&M at A&M is going to be some kind of environment with buckyball, and A&M already beat Texas here to start at the beginning of conference play. And as you said, they play a style of basketball that's going to give Texas trouble. A&M works through their interior, work through their bigs, and that could get Modest in foul trouble. So, again, you can win that. Georgia and A&M are similar quality. And right now, I will say this. Texas is playing better than 3 of the 5 teams on their schedule the rest of the way, Georgia, A&M, and Oklahoma, as far as the way they're playing now with 7 straight wins, or 6 straight wins, looking for 7 at Georgia tomorrow. But there, 2 of those are on the road. Oklahoma's the one here at the end of the season to wrap up the regular year, March 7th, that you have to win.
Yeah.
The next 4, coin flips, and starting with Georgia tomorrow afternoon at 3:30.
And the funny thing is, statistically, the defense hasn't improved all that much. That's just how good the offense has been for Texas. And I think you're right. You need to get at least 1 or 2 of these next stretch.
Because if you get 2, you're to 10 wins in the conference, and you're in. That's really where Texas is. You go 2 and 3 down the stretch, you're going to be 10-8 in the conference. You'll be close to 20 wins overall. You'll be in the tournament. You'll be 8-9 kind of seed. And if you get a third, somewhere in there, you can move up the seed line potentially. And that's where Texas is. And again, the SEC standings as we enter, going into the weekend that we're going to preview coming up, you got Florida and Arkansas. Florida at the top. They're 2 games clear of a group of 9-4 teams, which is Arkansas, Tennessee with Rick Barnes, Alabama's 9-4. And then you got Texas in a cluster with Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt and Kentucky. So the Texas is right there sitting at 8-5. That's what they're looking for tomorrow. That's a winnable game at Georgia. Texas has a good matchup with them. They beat them here in Austin pretty handily. That was the day. By the way, that game here in Austin, Jack, was the day of the big ice storm. That weekend of the ice storm, where Texas won that at noon on a Saturday, played a poor first half, and then blew it out in the second half. We'll see if they can replicate that tomorrow in the SEC. All right, wanted to get into Texas baseball. Here we go, Jack. You're going to be out at the dish this weekend. You're going to take in some ball games.
Going to go tonight.
Okay.
Be there tonight.
Ruger Riojas.
Ruger. Saw Volantis last week, going Ruger this week.
Ruger. And so wanted to play this. So thanks to everybody that's already gone and listened to it or taken it in, because I've told you, Jack, I have started a new podcast along with my great friend Ty Harrington, former Texas baseball player, of course, played for Coach Gus back in the 80s and then coached with Coach Gus, and then 25 years as a manager in college baseball in the junior, won a junior college national championship, and then really built the program down at Texas State, the Bobcats, over 20 years, and now has gotten out, but now he does media. So Ty and I have launched a podcast called Talkin' Ball. And it's about an hour long each week. We'll do it every week, midweek, and recap the weekend that was and look forward to the weekend to come and really go deep dive on SEC, college baseball, the Longhorns, obviously a little Texas State in there as well for you Bobcat fans. So I wanted to play a little clip from this. Here is Ty Harrington. We talked about Ethan Mendoza and his development, and Ty talked about how he saw Ethan when he was at Arizona State, and he was a guy that would, play in second base, punch the ball back through the middle, really a good contact hitter, kind of soft contact for the most part, but a good contact, would put the ball in play. Well, now, 2 years later, Ethan Mendoza's up 15, 20 pounds. He's put on the good weight. And listen to Coach from a manager's perspective. This is like a great hitting lesson from Talkin' Ball, the podcast, on if you want to hit the ball harder, Jack, you can't swing harder.
Right.
Any golfer knows this. The harder you swing, the worse this is going to go. And listen to Ty talk about what he's seen from Ethan Mendoza. Just same swing, just bigger and stronger and developing more power. He hit 2 home runs in the first weekend.
A shortstop. And then his progression physically to where he is. And then you just said something that's important, that his singles and his doubles or his balls he's hitting good now are finding their way out of the park and into the gap, right? When you try to create that as a swinger, you can't do it. You're going to miss. Your swing miss rate goes through the roof when you're trying to really get after the ball, really try to hit it hard.
Swing it, yeah.
Now it's within himself. It's within his athleticism, and now it's within his strength to be able to move the barrel enough with the authority that it needs, with mass behind it, providing the power behind it, and you're starting to see the example. He's not having to swing harder. He's swinging within himself, and he's being able to play within himself because he took the time to change his diet. And he took his time within Jim Schlossnagle's strength conditioning program, which has always been a staple of his programs, and you're seeing the end result of it now.
All right, so Ethan Mendoza now top of the order, bringing some pop. And again, those singles that lead off an inning or getting on base, now they're into the gap, and twice over the weekend they were over the fence. And that was kind of a pitcher's weekend, too. The wind was blowing in most of the weekend.
That's right.
So that tells you. And that home run he hit early in the week, it was straight out dead center. I mean, right into the batter's eye. That was a missile. So good to see that. And that's the kind of stuff you get from Ty on the talking ball, which I'm excited about. Also, I wanted to play this on Dylan Volantis because you're going to see him on Sunday. I said he's maybe the most, one of the 2 or 3 most unhittable pitchers in all of college baseball. He's got a chance to be one of the best pitchers that Texas has ever had, I think, as far as you see his stuff. What he did last year as an All-American closer, the stopper of the year, was unbelievable with 20 saves. But what I love talking to Coach Harrington about is the why. Like, why can't I understand he's 6'6"? I understand he's got great stuff, but when you talk to someone like Coach Harrington, it's like why is he so unhittable? Why does he miss so many bats? I mean, what is that about? What's the science behind it? And from the hitting perspective, what makes him so tough? Listen to Coach Harrington talk about Dylan Volantis.
You and I have talked about this before, and we may have talked about this morning, but I call him the cloud breaker because that breaker just comes straight out of the clouds. The depth, from when that frame in his hand to where that ball lands, I'll find out. Actually, I'll ask Max, what is the distance that it breaks, and what does that really look like? Well, that's the ability to spin the ball. But there are people who can do it like he spins it. They just can't consistently land it like he does. And if you watch, you going up there as a hitter, back in the day, you would have gone, all right, I'm going to go up there and look for a first pitch fastball in the beginning of an inning or the second hitter in the inning. And you walk up there and you go, I'm going to sit in here tight. He's a left-handed, so I'm going to look middle away. A lot of left-handers like the first base side of home plate. So I'm going to go up there, shuffle up a little bit, maybe tighten to the plate and look to the middle. And then you think you're about to get a fastball. And he starts that breaker in the clouds, and then it just comes roaring downhill at you. And you try to figure out as a hitter how you're going to middle that thing. How are you going to get your barrel in the middle of that baseball to make great contact with it when it's at 78 to 82 miles an hour coming down a hill, and it'd be like dropping a baseball or a ball out of the clouds or out of your hand, your buddy's standing above you, and then you got to hit it as it's on the way down. Think about that and how challenging that is. Well, and then you tell them as a coach, you go, hey, guys, look, we're just going to take his breaker. Don't swing at it. We're going to take it. He can't land it for a strike. Well, yeah, right? Wham! And then he shows you, and this is a tremendous mystery to be able to do. If you watch him, he does it. He will start his breaker early in the count in the middle, in the white part of the plate. Okay, once he gets you where he thinks he'll throw a fastball to speed you back up. Then he moves the breaker to the right-handed hitters over to the third base side of the plate and throws it underneath him on the back foot breaker. And then about the moment you think that he's got this figured out, he'll take, particularly on the right-handed hitters, he'll take his breaker and move it to the other side. Yeah. And now he's come up with a changeup that gets you, by the time you think, well, I've got him geared in, I've got him pinned in, he's got to throw me a fastball, and then here comes a changeup off that same setting, and you're like, and he lands them. He's not about one of the biggest.
All right, well, let's finish.
One of the biggest causes for a pitcher to come out of a game or not to get through the lineup is if their misses are big. If they have big misses, they're exerting more energy, and their misses, the count changes for them. And if there's a big miss with the pitch, if you throw me a breaker and you bounce it on an 0-0 count or 1-0 count, you know what I know you're not going back to?
Your
breaker.
All right, so there you go. The ability to land it and that the precision in which he does it. And again, as we've said, it's not hyperbole. He's an All-American last year, Jack, as a closer and almost unhittable. And then this year, one start, 7 innings, 78 pitches. That's what he's talking about. It's just so efficient.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 pitches an inning to mow down 21 hitters in college baseball. I know it's early, but, man, you just see the stuff, and it's the ability to land it, as he said, consistently. You just put a hitter almost in an impossible situation because he can throw it up there low 90s, which you got to catch up with the heater, but then that breaking ball is so devastating from the arm angle in which he brings it. Remember, he's 6'6", arm up high and up on top of the mound, which is why he calls it from the clouds. I mean, it's just – and you'll get to see him on Sunday. It'll be Luke Harrison pitching in the middle. And I think Jim Schlossnagle this weekend wants some 9-inning games. He talked yesterday at his availability about we got some arms that we wanted to get onto the mound so far that we haven't gotten to see because our last 2 wins have been 21-out games. We won in 7 innings because of the run rule. So that's what to look for. But don't sleep on Michigan State. They're coming in with a 2-1 record, feeling good. Out of the Big Ten, they took 2 out of 3 from Louisville this past weekend, who are a ranked team, top 15 team coming into the season. So good baseball. You'll be at the game tonight.
I will. Excited to see Ruger. Excited to see, let's see how fast he can throw it. He was touching 97 last weekend pretty consistently. And just back to Volantis really quick. The control he has is so commendable, too. Because the ball dropping out of the sky like that, a breaking ball, that can get wild pretty fast, and it just isn't. It's predictable for Volantis. It's predictable for Volantis and the catcher and Max Wiener. It is not predictable for the hitter.
Can't hit it. All right, unhittable. But if he dots it right, and he, as he said, he moves it on either side of the plate. It's
All-American is a true freshman in a closing role, and routinely went 6, 7, 8 outs last season for Texas. So I don't think length is going to be a problem for him. And him on Sundays when you've already worn down that pitching staff
on the other side. Yes,
oh my gosh,
that's what puts Texas in a really confident position right now. All right, get out there and check them out. Texas was 3 games this weekend. Go check out that Talking Ball podcast. We'll drop it every week. That kind of in depth. That's just me, but it's really all about Ty Harrington. We're gonna have great guests on that podcast because Ty's Rolodex is deep into college baseball, coaches and former players and players. Talking Ball. You can always find it on our YouTube page, 1027 on YouTube page. We'll post it to our social medias, and the first episode is out and up if you want to. Good hour of hardball, talking about the week in Arlington this past weekend, all of college baseball, 1 weekend in, and looking forward to weekend 2. That's Talking Ball at 1027 ESPN on YouTube.